talking about the Isle of Wight concert. My brother probably didn't have many disappointments in life because he didn't expect much from life. He never had, like Ken said, lofty goals, but one thing he always wanted to do was go to that Isle of Wight concert. And he missed it because he got detained. So my dear husband, Ian over here, has taken the liberty of putting together with my editing and your technical skills, we made a CD of songs from all the performers from the Isle of Wight concert, so my brother won't miss them. Thank you. And we'll play it. And we'll play it for you.
It's the All About Bob CD. What about Bob?
You included us. And I don't know if I can do this and hold it together. You guys did such a good job. How many of you guys have been in New England in winter? Fun, isn't it? I'll tell you, that wind howls, the snow starts flying around, or it's not snowing, it's raining. And if it's raining, it's icy. And Bob came to us in January of 2005. We had been open for a year. It was Liberty Tax Service. And if any of you have ever seen any of our stores, you know that one of the things we do for marketing is we put people in this ridiculous looking costume. I think. Bob looked good. And we're supposed to wave and attract attention to the business. And Bob came through the door, and I thought to myself, now Bob's like me, he won't want to do that. That's not going to be fun for him. I honestly didn't expect them after we told him the conditions of the employment. I didn't expect to see him the next day, but I didn't know Bob at the time. Bob came back the next day and put the costume on and went out there and worked his full shift and said to me, 4 hours is a little short, can you give me more hours? I think it was like minus 10 degrees wind chill factor that day. And there he was out there waving at people. So kind of surprised that he would, want to do that. On top of that, you can imagine some of the reception you get from the local community. Young kids especially going by in their cars, see an older gentleman out there in the Uncle Sam suit. They're not exactly the most welcoming people to that Uncle Sam. They do some nasty gestures, and Bob would smile and give him that friendly wave. And over time, he started to break down that resistance. And Ken, you saw that when you came up. People know who Bob is downtown. It gets to the point where I'm now known as the guy that puts up a Sam out in the street. Now, I think that's a good thing. I don't know. Anyways, Bob had not one article written about him. That was the second article written about Bob. First one was just as good as that one, and it was after his first year of employment with us. He had a great work ethic. Came back to work for us for 3 seasons, including this last one. When he came in the door in January of this year, I said to Mona, he's not well. He's not looking as good as he looked last year. So that was Bob. He wouldn't complain. Bob, costume on, went out, did his job. And again, can I get more hours? Can I work 6 days? 4 hour shift isn't long enough. Can I work 5? Can I work 6? The other thing is Bob did a variety of jobs. So the job with us he knew was only from January probably 10th or 11th to April 16th or 17th, whenever that tax season deadline was. And then he knew that that job was done. So he'd come to me somewhere in early April and say, what's the last shift I got to work this year? Because I got to get a job for the next day. And he almost always would succeed in getting something that he would do the next day or the day after. Bob didn't want to be idle. Bob wanted to work. And he's always looking forward to next year. He'd start sometime in March. Next year we got to do it this way. Next year I got to do this. Next year I should go and do that. Next year I'm going to go to the neighboring businesses with coupons and drop them off. That's Bob. That's Bob. Always going out and meeting people. We hire a lot of young people to do the job. That's really who should be doing the job, young people. It's cold out there. Bob would try to teach these young people how to do the job. They never lived up to his standards. They never did. He'd get into character. told me one time this year, yeah, sometime in December I start growing a goatee. Because I got to look like Uncle Sam. If you look at that picture, you see the goatee very clearly. That was Bob. He wanted to be the character. He wanted to be Uncle Sam. In that picture, he's wearing a white shirt. Came in that day. We had this American flag tie hanging in the closet of an office we had upstairs from the store. And he had seen the tie there. Nobody had worn the tie. It was just hanging there on a hanger. And he knew that this reporter was coming by to take his picture and do a story on him that day. So he came in wearing a white shirt. He said to me, "Can I wear the tie?" Sure, go ahead, put the tie on. Because he thought that made him look authentic, like Uncle Sam. That's what he wanted to do. There's probably literally dozens, if not hundreds of people in the southern New Hampshire area who have a picture of themselves with Bob in front of the store. He was posing with somebody almost daily. You'd almost every day see somebody standing in front of the store. Bob would have an arm around their shoulder, they'd have an arm around his waist, and somebody on the other side of the sidewalk taking his picture. Because that's the way he was. He talked to everybody. He was friendly. He got to know everybody in town. We had this countdown sign. You know, it's March rolls into April, 15 days left of tax season, 14 days left of tax season. That was his job. He'd come in the morning, got to change the time, got to change the date. It's not 15 anymore, Rich, it's 14. And he'd take the 14 and he'd put it on there, put the sign back in the window. It was his job. That's what he wanted to do. He wanted to make sure that we had the right number of days on it. I also learned that Bob was a man of great deal of integrity and also a lot of generosity. It's amazing. The $2 bill story does not surprise me. We have a young gal who works for us, makes muffins or brownies every Tuesday morning for the store, brings them in. Gotten to the point where the customers come in on Tuesday because they know that the muffins and the brownies are there. But Bob enjoyed these treats immensely. Bob was probably the first one at the muffin tray. You know, he loved those muffins. You know, we've got 15 to 16 tax preparers, 3 or 4 or 5 people that work the same type of job as Bob. And there's only one person that ever brought in a box of Duncan Hines muffin mix for Trish to make muffins the next week. And that's Bob. Because he thought about it. Why should she be spending only her money on making muffins for the office? So he brought in a box of muffin mix. I'll never forget that. Even I never thought about that. But he did. He was always grateful for anything we gave him. You know, when it's cold and windy, and I hate to see those guys out there. I really do. And so we go around the corner. There's a place that makes great soups and chowder. I said to Mona, you know, these guys are out there, it's cold. We got to feed them. We got to keep them warm. We always have coffee. We always have hot chocolate. There's something about having to eat, too. So we go